Are you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six. That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Good evening. We are back for a third night in a row. Tonight wraps up WrestleMania weekend. My name is Wayne. We are going to talk Monday Night Raw tonight. But guess what? I am joined by somebody new. So hopping on tonight to talk Raw with me is Brandon, aka Bash. Brandon, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing good, Wayne. How you doing?
Very good, very good. Guys, those of you guys that are watching, feel free to give us a like, help us out by giving us a subscribe. This will help get our show out there. Forgive me if my voice is a little bit off tonight as I was battling the cold elements at WrestleMania 40. It was freezing Saturday night, and last night was a little better, but it was still cold. And my buddy that was with me, he got hit with just a little mild cold, nothing too major. He wasn't feeling too right though, but it was cold Saturday and not as bad yesterday, but a great Mania. It may have been cold outside with the weather, but it was certainly hot inside the stadium with the action that happened, especially night two, which was great. We're not going to talk much about WrestleMania 40, although very tempting, because we had a lot of that talk already between our post shows, night one on Saturday and night two post show last night. So if you want to hear our thoughts on WrestleMania 40, go there and check that out. But Brandon, I had a pretty interesting weekend, and I'm going to tell you why.
I lost you, Wayne. Uh-oh. I was so ready to hear about the exciting weekend.
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. And Brandon, I saw you kept on going. Good save. Good save. Thank you. Okay, so this is what happened here. I was about to tell you about the weekend. So as you guys know, I think I told you, Brandon, this is our 4-year anniversary. We've been doing the show since 2020. We've picked up so much momentum in the past 2 weeks, and we're hoping to continue that through 2025 for the rest of this year into next year. But Chris Van Vliet has been a big part of our story for the past 4 years. He gave our show a chance when it was just only a couple months old, and I was very new, very green at doing all this. And he took a chance on us, hopped on our show. Me and Tommy got to interview him. If you guys have never seen that, great interview, episode 64. Definitely check it out. Not a long interview, but Chris Van Vliet basically gives us a little synopsis of his background, of how he got started, and brought a very positive message to us for that show. So he took a chance on us, which was awesome. So we've been using him for cameos, just showing our support any way we can. I got to meet him yesterday at WrestleCon. WrestleCon was a lot of people, not as many people as World, but Brandon, WrestleCon was pretty cool. All the stars were there, all the old timers. But honestly, like, I just didn't want to like you could walk in there and easily just throw your money away and meet all these wrestlers. And I did not. I did everything I can to not go down that rabbit hole. I really wanted to meet Chris Van Vliet. Him and I have gone back and forth, emails, a couple times here and there. He knows who I am. He's been on our show. But yeah, got to meet him yesterday.
Wow. Very cool.
Talked for a few minutes. We supported him, took a photo, got autograph. And hopefully it'll be more of those connections in the future. But I got to share a funny photo with you. Check this out from today. Somebody posted this. I mean, you can't beat the internet.
That is fantastic. That is, you know what? That is exactly what the internet can provide. Just great memes, And I mean, you heard the pop. You were there. What was the pop like for first the whoa, but in general, just him coming out? Because it sounded electric on TV.
Yes, the wall was huge. Night 2 was a lot more electrifying than night 1. As I had mentioned a little bit earlier, it was cold Saturday night, and I think that affected a lot of things. That could have affected in-ring work, crowd reactions and stuff. People were
You
were
cranky. Yeah,
trying to keep
you're a little cranky
warm.
too, I can imagine.
My buddy was
Yeah.
underdressed. He probably would have been into it a little bit more night 1 than night just as much as night 2. If it had been a little bit warmer night 1, he was definitely more into it night 2, as was I. Um, and you know what, too? Everything just night 2 is a lot more electrifying because we kind of knew that night 1 was a build to night 2.
Mhm.
So fans kind of knew what was going on. We're just kind of waiting to ride it out until we get to that big moment. And once we finally got there, the crowd was electric,
Yep.
electric, especially when Cena Taker came out, when Cody won, got the big moment. And we predicted everything like this for 1 year. We predicted WrestleMania 40, and for the past several weeks, maybe a couple months, I've been predicting that we would have a WrestleMania 10 ending, and we
Mhm.
got that. So we called this WrestleMania very well, and I've actually been like I posted a short on our YouTube channel today. Long term booking WrestleMania 40. No, I'm sorry. Let me take a step back. Long term booking Cody Rhodes and who he will lose to
Wow.
when he finally loses that title. So I have Cody losing to Gunther by WrestleMania 41. I think WWE
Mm.
wants to get us to Cody versus Gunther. Notice they've been keeping them apart. And notice if you look back to Royal Rumble 2024 and especially last year, Royal Rumble 2023, the magic that Cody and Gunther had. So Cody and Gunther are going to have their own feuds, and eventually they're going to cross paths. And I'm going to have to say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's Cody versus Gunther, WrestleMania 41. Gunther wins the Royal Rumble this year. But all the in between stuff, I'm kind of a little cloudy on, especially what they're going to do with Cody in between.
Right.
So
Him to keep it
we'll
for a
see.
year might be tough as well. I mean, that's where, we see Seth lose it in about a year. You see a lot of these guys, they hold it that time. So it might be tough for him to hold it for the full year, but it is very compelling. Like you said, they haven't really crossed paths. Imperium seems to be kind of on the down slope. They lost tonight, as we'll get to if you want to speak a little bit more on that, but they lost tonight. And they look to be on a downslope. So to kind of separate them a little bit, get Gunther as a singles guy and kind of push him towards Cody is a good move. But like you said, it's all long-term booking, and they go in many different directions.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought, and we'll get to it, but I thought we were going to get a different winner for the Fatal 4-Way tonight on Raw, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I thought we were going to get a different winner because of certain places where WWE is doing pay-per-views in the next 2 months, like Glasgow, Scotland. Anyway, we'll get into that. But Brandon, you ready to dive into some Raw?
Let's do it.
Okay, pretty good Raw, and like I had told you before we went on the air, it started off hot. It was like book. It was a bookend show. Started off hot, ended hot, and some ups and downs in the middle. You know, not the greatest Raw after Mania, but it was still decent. Better than last year, that's for sure.
Yeah, there was nothing last year, and I remember vividly. No surprises, no real. Everybody that came in, you kind of knew was coming. It wasn't a lot. This year, kind of the same. I feel like there weren't too many surprises, but there were a lot of pop ups that were cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive into it really quick. It opens up with Triple H, um, with a huge pop. Triple H chants, "Thank you, Hunter" chants come out to this. They come out to. There's a lot of thank you chants. So
Yep.
basically, listen, Triple H did a heck of a job booking WrestleMania, and he got his flowers from the fans for sure. Well deserved popped. The booking between the last year or so and the Vince McMahon era is night and day. Like, I see quality, I see creativity, I see a lot of things, I see chaos, I see a lot of moving parts, a lot of intertwining of storylines. With Vince, it was just all cookie cutter. Didn't have his finger on the pulse. It just was not good. It was the same repetitive stuff every single week. With Triple H era, we rarely see repetitive stuff during the week, from week to week. And so yeah, the fans rightfully so gave him the flowers. What did you think of that little segment before we move forward?
I think that was. I think him calling it the greatest WrestleMania ever. That struck. I still think it's early, but as time goes and we start talking about it more, that was a very solid 7 hours of wrestling. Everything put together, like you said, the booking, it all made sense. There was lead up and build up, and all the way from Royal Rumble on, there has been some great work. Not wrestling has been great, but the work on the mic from all these people to set up these stories and make it intriguing and entertaining has been great. And so I do think that greatest WrestleMania ever is definitely going to be spoken about a lot. And yeah. I think what The Rock, I'm sorry, before I go to The Rock, obviously what they did for Cody Rhodes in that video segment to bring tears, to get a big hug from Triple H, and the "you deserve it" chants, like you said, a lot of thank yous, you deserve it, everything like that. And it all summed up what this year plus since Royal Rumble has been for Cody. And it really showed why he does deserve it and what the fans do think of him.
Absolutely. We got a comment here from Figgy Smash. Figgy! Jacob! We are here on a Monday night, and going forward, we're here every other Monday. I'm excited. Our podcast has got a lot of momentum. We're rolling with it. And Brandon is our new co-host. He's here to help us push it forward and move to the next step. So I'm excited. Every Monday, Figgy. I'm sorry, every other Monday. Eventually, we'll get to every Monday. We'll see how that looks like, but every other Monday for now. And then one podcast episode with me and whoever in between those Mondays. So we have a lot of content coming out this year. This is going to be a big year, our 4-year anniversary. But we're 4 years in. We need to make some moves. And those of you guys that are watching, feel free to share with your friends, and this will help us out. Let's be honest, this helps out our algorithm for us to get noticed more. So that would be a big help to us. And feel free to drop some comments. We want to conversate with you guys. Okay, so we're going to start right from the top. I'm going to kind of buzz through really quick what the first segment looked like. There's a lot to unpack, so hang with me here, guys, for a second. Cody, you mentioned the Cody video package. We had that song Rise Up by Andrada, and it covered a lot of Cody Rhodes' little bit of the past and recent highlights. It was really good. It was very touching, and I kind of felt that, and it was really awesome. Then The Rock comes out, and I wasn't too sure we were gonna get here. Rock got booed out of the building tonight. Yep. So for those Rock and Roman Reigns fans, well deserved booed. Philadelphia broke. So The Rock goes on to say he had a bunch of one-liners. Him and Cody went back with one-liners. Rock goes on to say that Philadelphia broke the record for the largest gathering of trailer park trash. I popped. I started laughing there. And then Pat McAfee chimes in. He's like, "Yeah, you guys did it."
There was also the longest beep I've ever heard right after that. So we don't know what he said, but it was the longest beep I've ever heard, longest bleep from WWE. That went on for 3 seconds.
Oh, those bleeps are getting annoying, and I get why, they do it, but they get annoying sometimes. It's like
Netflix can't come quick enough if they can give them the TV 14 rating, which will make sense for paid per view. of Netflix versus USA. So I do hope that holy S that comes in and they have to bleep it after every one. You miss a lot of key moments with that. So I hope that they change it a little bit.
Rock came out to so the Rock basically came out to give Cody his flowers. Says that he looks up to Dusty, which was awesome. The Rock talks about how his belt, the Brahma Bull belt given by Muhammad Ali's wife for the WWE Hall of Fame, says that it means a lot to him, just like Cody's new belt that Cody is holding, that WWE Championship he just won the night before, and how that means to him. And then The Rock, and this was getting weird, and the fans were even chanting, "This is awkward."
Mm-hmm.
The Rock talks. The Rock says he wants to hold Cody's belt. I'm thinking to myself, "Oh no, is The Rock gonna play his boss card and take the belt away from Cody after he just won it?" Like I was really concerned about what was going to happen here. But the Rock wants to hold Cody's belt, and then Cody says reluctantly he can hold Cody's belt as long as Cody gets to hold the Rock's belt. So they did amicable exchange holding each other's belts, and WWE cameraman made sure to get that visual of Rock holding Cody's belt. Cody says he can hold it for a moment. The fans are chanting, "This is awkward." Rock says this feels right as he's holding Cody's belt, and thanks Cody. The Rock says he's got to go away for a little while. So news came out about recently that Rock is going to be doing some movies, so he'll basically be gone through the spring. He'll be back. From what I've heard, it looks like he'll be back by SummerSlam-ish or right after SummerSlam. I would imagine just in time for SummerSlam to maybe get a match with Cody, in my opinion. Then something else comes up. The Rock says he's going to come back for Cody, and Cody says he's looking forward to it. And then The Rock says, "Your story with Reigns is over, but our story has just begun." So I thought this was cool. I'm going to get your opinion on this in a second. Cody says, "I'm the champion, their champion. That means I'm your champion." And then Cody Rhodes says there's one last thing. The final boss rides to the sunset. And so basically, The Rock is basically going away for a while. But he's like, "I have something to give you," and no fireworks. Rock just takes Cody's hand, gives something to Cody. We don't know what that is. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of jokes going on around online or whatever what it could be. I was thinking maybe a trinket, a watch, or something very, very expensive. Who knows? Leave it to your imagination. And then Rock says, "Don't ever break my heart again," and then walks away. So, Brandon, help me out here. Where do you think we're going with this? Obviously, The Rock says, "Don't ever break my heart again." And I'm sure he's referring to, taking away the opportunity that Rock would have had against Roman. I'm pretty sure he's, working towards that. But where do you think we go from here? Do you think we get some filler with Cody Rhodes in the meantime, and then SummerSlam they pull the trigger and start the Rock Cody program with Cody defending the title? Do we do title for title?
I think the title for title move could make sense in the long run. But like you said, the time off, it's really going to depend about when he comes back, because there isn't really a big pop for Rock to come back at any time until a month before SummerSlam. Like you said, the trinket, whatever he handed to him, I don't know if we'll ever find out. He said you don't even have to open your hand to know what this is. So it could be nothing. There's so many things, and maybe we get to see it. I hope we do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what I think. We didn't see Seth Rollins tonight, and that was big because Seth Rollins was the fighting champion. Now,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I heard yesterday that Seth Rollins was supposed to be written off tonight. I heard that by a very reliable source. So a buddy of mine who's on the media team, so to speak, that
Mhm.
gets approved to go into these media events, stadiums, shows like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, whatever. So he got approved for WrestleMania. So he heard from reliable source that the plan was for Seth Rollins to be attacked and written off tonight, but
Mm.
that didn't happen. I guess you're just going to do a disappearing act. But go on with what's a disappearing act with Seth, and he'll just randomly show up in a few months. What do you think?
So, he was the fighting champ. He went out week in and week out. I think it might be time to do that with Cody and send him out, find reliable people that can verse him and make great matches every couple of weeks. Like you said, make it not a filler time, but at least make it seem like every night he can go out and lose, but he's going to pull out the win. I think that's the smartest move for him to keep him relevant. You don't need these huge matches against, like the Roman Reigns type against the Seth Rollins. You can have these, I hate to call them B tier wrestlers, but you can have those guys that maybe are mid card plus and try to push them over with a great match against Cody, which he did when he didn't even have the belt. He gave these guys their opportunities. So now with the belt, I think he'll give some guys some opportunities again. I think it's a very smart move if they want to push WWE in the right direction and get new wrestlers out there.
Absolutely. Um, we have a lot of wrestlers that are taking a break right now, and just for the sake of not kind of like getting too far ahead of ourselves, I gotta bring that up to remind me to go over that with you, to go over that point. But moving on, we had Nakamura versus Ilya Dragunov. So he was the surprise opponent for Nakamura. Not 100% sure it's a call up. I'm pretty sure it is because he is the current NXT champion, and a pretty good match that he had here. Not gonna spend a lot of time with this one, but Pat McAfee and Michael Cole making a point to note that the draft is going April 26th, Friday night for SmackDown, and April 29th for Monday Night Raw. So we're going to see a lot of movement. We're going to see NXT call ups. I believe Ilya Dragunov is going to be a call up. So whenever he loses that title NXT, or maybe to keep him on him for a while. We saw another call up, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Dragunov looked very good. You can tell he's seasoned. I'm very excited to see what we're going to get out of him the next couple of years. I believe he's going to be a future world champ. I would probably give it about 4 years or so. But, they could do a lot with him versus Gunther. And they've had some crazy matches in NXT UK. Dragunov wins with the power bomb. Then that was a sick power bomb, by the way.
Yeah, that was nice, especially for a guy. He doesn't seem to be too tall, but to get the power that he has from that frame is fantastic.
He's
That
got a
H bomb,
strong base.
that H bomb right
H-bomb.
after. I mean, I've only seen that in UFC. A guy comes down and punches a grounded opponent. That was scary.
Yep, and then the headbutt. Ilya with the win.
Yeah,
Served his purpose.
solid.
I feel like Nakamura is turning into an enhancement talent at this point. I mean,
Mhm.
he has got no momentum right now.
And he
Judgment
faced Cody.
Day.
He faced Cody 4 months ago in a fantastic
Yeah.
setup. The storyline looked great. He had the mist. He had everything going for him. And like you said, 3 months later, he's not really there to do anything. So missed opportunity unless they give him something to do.
Yeah, you're right. Judgment Day, all in the ring, they come out. You see them doing a commercial break, all walking together, very happy. Mommy gets her words in as usual, says she's always on top. Then Priest comes out with his new belt and then being greeted by all of Judgment Day. I thought that was a good moment for Priest. Not for nothing. But I feel like with Cody having his belt and his huge celebration, recognition, totally overshadowing the world title. That's just kind of like the way I saw it tonight. But Priest did have his moment. He comes out with his new belt. He says the Terror Twins, referring to him and Rhea, stand before you as new champs, and we always rise to the occasion, and the whole world needs to follow suit and all rise for the Judgment Day. So I thought that was pretty cool. Was it just me, Brandon, or did Priest come out to new music tonight?
I might have missed it. I'd have to go watch, but it's very possible because they called them out separately. So maybe I'd have to look back. I would have to look back because I don't think I've seen Priest come out by himself in a little bit. So maybe they did something.
Yeah, it's just his theme song. Whoever's watching, if you guys, one of you guys can confirm if Priest came out to a new song tonight. I didn't recognize it, to be honest with you, because I'm always so conditioned to Priest coming out with, the Judgment Day group. So, our Truth comes out and celebrates. And he just pops up out of nowhere at the red belt.
Oh, too funny.
Joins the celebration. Oh, that was so good. And celebrates his tag title and says he's back in the Judgment Day. Then the Miz comes out and pulls R-Truth aside. Finn says that the both of them, Miz and R-Truth, will have the shortest tag team title reign and demands that their titles get defended right away on the line right here, right now. Truth says the guy that they can't see and the Miz will go against Truth versus Judgment Day. Will go against Judgment Day. So that is Miz, and we find out that the guy that they can't see, some people think little Jimmy, but it's John Cena, and then R-Truth. The three of them go against Judgment Day. Judgment Day beats on an awesome Truth leading into commercial break, so that was pretty good. We see a 2-on-3 handicap for a little while. Miz looked really good for a bit. He looked very fresh out there for much of the match until he got clotheslined by Balor and thrown into the barricade. Cena comes in. He gets the tag, and then we see Stereo, Knuckle Shuffles, and Stereo AAs, which I thought was awesome. Cena, Miz, and Truth for the win. What did you think of this?
I think it's a smart move. I think, you have two guys that have actually, in those three right there, they were combined in the WWE for probably about 50 years combined. So all those guys deserve a good pop. Cena's probably, it's probably the last we see of him for a little bit, which not pun intended, but other than that, I think R-Truth deserved that moment. And The Miz has been in the WWE now 17, almost 18 years. So he's another guy. They deserve belts. And it's just smart to keep them on top, to keep a little comedy and levity to WWE. And that's what R-Truth is bringing. And it's smart the way they're booking him now, making him a winner. Wayne, you're muted.
Good call. Thank you. We get Bronson Reed telling his opponents tonight he will teach a lesson in Raw dominance. So you lived up to that. Bronson Reed showed up tonight, which we'll talk about in just a couple moments. But then we get another backstage segment with Rhea and Dominic walking backstage, and Rhea saying how she needs Dominic to take care of the situation, to take care of Andrade for betraying them. Because over the weekend, Andrade turned on Legado del Fantasma, and Dominic was there included in that. And then we got that match at WrestleMania. Anyhow, Rhea says Dominic needs to take care of that, and they split off for a second. And then we see Liv Morgan attack Rhea Ripley. We knew this was coming, but this part was like a little bit of a surprise, so that was cool. It was a surprise factor there, but we know that they were setting up Liv and Rhea Ripley, which is why I believed that Rhea was going to win at WrestleMania, which was a freaking awesome match. What did you think of the Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley match, by the way?
To start, that was to start off the night, correct? And
yeah.
The way to start off a night like that is fantastic. I mean, you have Becky Lynch, who was one of the actually the first women's main event, to now come out and open up the night. It just and I thought the hair blowing in the wind looked really cool too. I don't know if you were able to catch that one and watch, but it looked really cool. Other than that, the fact that these women put on a 20-minute showing of just strength and brutality as you know, with Rhea the way she is, but it just was a solid match from start to finish. And it showed that women's wrestling deserves to be watched, looked at, and, can really be a staple in WWE as long as they continue this path.
Absolutely. Rhea has been doing some phenomenal work. Liv has improved. Becky's just great. She's there. But we're getting Rhea versus Becky. I'm sorry, Rhea versus Liv Morgan, which looks to be at Backlash, which would be the next pay per view in I think about 3-4 weeks. And sign me up. Sign me
Yeah.
up. I don't think Rhea is losing to Liv Morgan, but I think they're gonna have a nice little feud. Rhea Ripley's gonna get a couple of feuds in between her next one, which would be her big match, SummerSlam, whatever that might be. Maybe Rhea versus Bianca. They've teased that. I think they say that for Mania though. It's my opinion. But so yeah, moving on. Indy Hartwell versus Roxanne Perez. Roxanne was the other NXT surprise, which I believe is also going to be an NXT call up. She looked great tonight. Indy has improved in her ring.
Yeah.
She's improved. I think she needs to work on a little bit of her first facial reactions. Her acting skills needs to get better. Like the way she's selling what's being done to her knee. I think she needs to sell the fact and know how to sell better with her facial reactions that she's in pain. I think that needs improvement. She's still green in that area, but her in-ring has clearly improved. I don't know if I told you, I got a high five from her Raw last week, which is awesome. That was cool. Roxanne is great. She's going to be a great addition to the main roster.
Yeah.
And then, so we see Candice. Candice has been heel for a few weeks now, basically trying to get Indy to do what Candice wants her to do, and there's a conflict there at the moment because of that. And in the end, I believe Indy Hartwell is going to turn heel too, and they're going to be a heel tag team, and I think they'll do wonders for them.
I'm see, that's where I'm split. I think that the smartest move is Indy to go heel, but the way that they're writing it off, it looks like it'll be more of a split, and they'll go into a backlash fight in the next 3 weeks, which is very possible because Candice was supposed to be, that bright butterfly that's all nice and winning, and now she's going dark side. Indy might try to stay on that light butterfly side, and they get in a nice fight in the next 3 or 4 weeks. And you have backlash, so it's very possible that they go either way with that.
I can't even disagree with you on that. I mean, that's a good point. They definitely could go the other way as well if they want to split them up. It's definitely primed for that. Candice trips Roxanne. Indy's mad at Candice for doing that. Then the ref gets distracted by Candice. Roxanne rakes Indy's face and then hits the pop rocks on Indy Hartwell. Roxanne Perez gets the win in a Raw debut. I believe she is going to be a call up, not just because she was there in Philly this weekend, and I think she's going to be a call up. I'm pretty sure about that. We see Jey Uso congratulate Sammy backstage, and they do the handshake for old times' sake before commercial. So I thought that was a little bit cool. We see Sammy come out. The fans are singing his theme song, and he says he's been lucky these past few years at Mania, that he wanted to do something historic at this year's Mania, and he thinks he did, and then holds up the belt. But he says he says that Gunther is really the one that made history because of the amount of days that he's held the belt. 666 days. A very odd number, but 666 days Gunther's held the belts as champion, and says he's the best IC champ of all time, and yells, "I beat him." What did you think about that part?
Sammy is definitely one of the best on the mic, and he knows exactly when to raise and find his inflection. He knows when to get that yell, and it almost sounds primal sometimes, but he sounds like a fighter. Like he's into everything he's saying. And as you're saying with Indy getting the facial expression, him on the mic is so good that when he says stuff like that of "I beat him," he believes that he went out there and really beat that man. And he's a fighter. And I think that, like I said, Sammy is one of the best on the mic right now.
Sammy's been good, and you want to know why he's the best? In my opinion, I think it's just because he's being himself.
Yep.
I think it's just because he's being himself. That's what I see there for sure. Moving on that segment, he says he got a lot of help from the fans, and that seeing his wife and son helped him. Seeing Kevin Owens and Gunther, seeing Kevin Owens in the Gorilla helped him, and that the other guy helped him too. And as he was about to finish that statement, we get Imperium coming out, and Imperium interferes that segment, surrounds Sami Zayn. Then Chad Gable comes in for the save to prevent any 2-on-1 scenario, and then we see the match set up: Gable and Sami Zayn versus Imperium. I don't really have many takeaways from the match, but what did you think of this segment?
A lot of times I've seen this a lot of times now. Imperium comes out and you don't get Gunther interaction. In a lot of other like back in the day when you had the New Day and it's all three of them. Not that there's a leader, but the other person would always get involved. We don't see Gunther run out and support Imperium the way that we've seen other factions do and the way we've seen other groups do. So I was a little surprised, especially Sammy being the one that took the belt, to not see Gunther run out and make a 3-on-2 opportunity at one point. It's definitely, like I said, as I said before, it's starting to show a little bit of Imperium's downslope. And that I'm very surprised that we are just kind of skipping over Gunther's historic run and not even giving him a little bit of face time on the Raw after WrestleMania.
I'm glad Sami Zayn gave Gunther the credit. It gave Gunther a little bit of validation there. I loved how Kaiser, everybody was ripping on the Philly crowd tonight. Kaiser says Sammy looks like a bum, like all the Philadelphia fans here. And on behalf of Gunther, they're there to make this right, and that's how they got into the match. I think it was a pretty good match here. I wasn't really well invested into it. I think really what I was probably more interested in to see what would probably happen with it, Sammy and Gable, which we see later on backstage. Sammy joking around with Gable, but challenging Gable for next week on Raw in Montreal, in Sami Zayn's hometown. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a great freaking match.
Wrestling is gone now.
I'm not too sure if Sammy loses it this soon, though.
No, I don't think so. I think wrestling is gone to, I don't like you, you don't like me, let's fight, to I respect your fighting style and you've helped me out. So here is your opportunity. Make a name for yourself if you can. And as Ric Flair used to say, if you can beat the champ, then you can be the champ. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. So that's where it's showing a lot more respect than it is, I don't like you, you don't like me, the way that as we'll talk, but CM Punk and Drew are going. But, there's a lot more respect between those two guys, and I like the way that wrestling is going that way.
Sammy hits the Helluva Kick on Vinci and tags in Gable to hit the Chaos Theory for the win. So I thought that was a nice little setup there, close to the match. Now, here we go. We got the Fatal 4-Way, which was the main event. A couple different takeaways here. We see we have Jay versus Drew versus Bronson Reed versus Ricochet for the number one contender for the World Heavyweight title. But before we go there, we had Chelsea Green complaining how she wasn't on WrestleMania.
Yeah, she deserves to complain. She's Chelsea Green.
Pierce grants her a match. He's like, go ahead, go have fun out there. And then Nick Aldis, they're all laughing backstage, like you knew, like something was up with Chelsea Green, like she was in trouble. I was thinking maybe it was gonna be like Nia Jax or something gonna go against Chelsea, but Chelsea's surprise opponent is Jade Cargill, which was kind of weird because Jade is on SmackDown. Anyway, they're all in Philly, so I guess Raw after Mania, anything goes. Anybody shows up.
Yep.
Chelsea gets squashed and Jade wins in 20 seconds.
I think that the purpose at least was to highlight the draft because they were talking right before and it was a great line of does anybody want to trade, which is hysterical. But no, I think that like you said, Jade is a SmackDown, but it makes so much more sense for her in 3 weeks to come to Raw. She's a huge name. Raw is the 3-hour show. It gets more viewership and everything like that. So it makes sense for her to probably go there. So I think it was a very smart move by them to bring in Jade, one of the bigger name females now in the wrestling game, and tease the draft coming in 3 weeks.
Yes, absolutely. They even made comments. One of them made comments to the other. I think it was Nick Aldis Pierce. Oh, you're working so hard to get all these people, and they're all going to be traded to my show.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty interesting too. Those of you guys that are watching, hang tight. We are just about to hop on to the main event. So stick with us for a few more minutes. Hit that like button and share. That will help us out a lot. So we got the main event coming up here. So Drew comes out. He storms to the ring, which I thought was cool. He is pissed off about last night. Drew McIntyre cuts that promo and says, what happened last night was BS. 5 minutes, 46 seconds is how long his moment lasted. And he says that he respects Seth and that Seth stood by everything he was saying. And thanks Seth for sharing the moment. So a little bit of like a tweener kind of statement there. I thought it was pretty cool, well deserved. Oh my gosh, he rips on Pierce calls. I'm sorry, he rips on Priest calling him Bondage Undertaker.
That one got me. That was hysterical.
It's like that Bondage Undertaker screwed it all up, cashing in, cheapens everything Seth and Drew did, and he's calling him a transitional champ. I really don't know where they're going, as far as Backlash and then Glasgow, Scotland, just yet, just because we'll get to it in a second. But Seth, he also says that prick CM Punk caused all of this, so that was pretty interesting there. He says he's going to go after his title. And then Jay interrupts his promo, and we see Drew really pissed and swinging the chair around as the whole arena is yeeting. You see Pat McAfee yeeting, getting on the table, and Michael Cole's trying to get Pat McAfee to sit down. He's like, I don't want to die. So before we get into the match, what did you think of this Drew's promo tonight? Another great promo again.
Another guy, great on the mic, like you said. I think they got to be planning something for Scotland for him, but I think he, like you said, he is not himself because we've seen multiple different versions of him being happy, Drew, him being sad. I think that him getting up there and being angry and getting into it is exactly the type of guy that WWE needs, that just raw emotion guy. So like you said, I think he cut a great promo. He keeps himself in, contention, and obviously being in a fatal 4-way to be a contender. It just is smart of him to get up there and show true emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So let's get into the match. Pretty good match here. A couple highlights, nothing too crazy, but the four of them worked very well together. We had the fatal 4-way: Drew, Bronson, Ricochet, and Jey Uso. Bronson looked very good. Puts Jey Uso through the table before going to the last commercial break. A buddy of mine was saying Bronson Reed's probably going to win that. So I'm like, nah. I was leaning more towards Drew at this point, to be honest. I love the interaction between Braun and Drew. What'd you think of that?
What was it?
the interaction between Bronson Reed and Drew when they went face to face before they're about to slug it out.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if you know the joke. I hope you've seen it, but Biggie of two meaty men slapping meat. It's exactly what it is. Is you just have two big guys that, yes, you have Ricochet, who is a flippy floppy guy, the way it's been called, but you have these two big guys that are just ready to throw anybody around, and we're gonna see who the strongest one is, and one of these two guys are primed to win.
So we thought.
So we thought, yeah, that's, as you go on.
Drew hit the Michinoku driver on Bronson Reed. I thought that was sick.
It's a tough move to get.
Yeah, WWE's been doing a really good job by pairing like meaty men. Like, for instance, they've done Ivar versus Bronson Reed. Ivar they've done against Otis. They've done Otis versus Reed. Triple H has done a great job booking those guys. I love a good car crash. Love it.
Oh yeah.
There was a triple super kick. Bronson Reed, Ricochet, and Jey Uso gave on Drew McIntyre. Thought that was pretty cool. And then after they kicked Drew, then the other two, Jey Uso and Ricochet, super kicked Bronson Reed. So I thought that was a little fun. Ricochet notices Bronson on the Spanish announce table, so that was another highlight. He gets up on the top rope, and does a 450 splash onto the outside on top of Bronson Reed through the Spanish announce table. What'd you think of this move? I think this was the spot of the night.
Absolutely. No question about it. We've seen, the likes of Shane McMahon all the way up to Shawn Michaels jumping from that rope and making it to the announce table. But that one, the 450 splash to hit it with that precision is insane.
Absolutely. That was my move tonight. Ricochet has been booked really well recently.
Yep.
I just need more character development out of him this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need more character development. Give him a little gimmick. I need something new and fresh out of him. His moves are there. He's getting wins. Great. Let's see character development, and I think they got something.
When is Money in the Bank slated? Did they move that back, or is that still
4th of July weekend?
They did move that. Okay, because I know they used to have it in May, and then they moved it a little bit, so now it's July. Because that would have been very big for him to go up against, an extra 7 guys. But yeah, we'll see. Like you said, I hope that they're able to build that. I hope that he gets a chance in Money in the Bank. Like he's another guy that deserves a chance. He is keeping wrestling in WWE. Like, it's scary to say, but he's a guy that's really moving around and showing athleticism and a lot of potential still.
We have a comment from Riker Pereira. Hi, how are you, man? Thank you so much for hopping in today. We really appreciate you. Feel free to like our videos and join our conversations anytime, Riker. We're going to be here every other Monday, and we're going to get a podcast in once a week. So we have a lot of content coming. Thank you so much for joining us, man. And then Punk.
Yep.
Comes in out of nowhere. Great camera work. Drew McIntyre's in the corner. About to do a Claymore. Punk holds McIntyre's foot. Drew can't go anywhere. Jey Uso gets the win. Punk is yeeting, and that's how they go off the air. All right, so we have some nonsense comments that we're not here for that. We want to delete that. Like I said, if you're gonna come on and drop a comment, great. We're gonna acknowledge it and have fun with you. But when you guys post negative comments like that, we don't have time for that. We don't care if we have hundreds of people watching or 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. We don't care. We do this for an audience of 1 if we have to. If somebody enjoys it, that's why we do it. We do it for fun. And if you don't like it, we don't need that here. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. And he'll get blocked. Yeah. So we have escalation between Punk and Drew McIntyre there. Um, I think now, now I'm beginning to think that, and I even said it before, but I wasn't really too sure. Punk and Drew, they don't really need a feud with the title right now.
No, they did exactly what they needed to do. CM Punk at what he's able to do, you don't need a belt on either of those guys. They're not, they're just written in correctly where you don't need a belt. They're just going to be able to feud. As Drew said, CM Punk is partially, if not fully, the reason that he doesn't have the belt right now. So it just makes sense to give Priest his belt and let Drew just wrestle anybody with CM Punk in the background at all times.
Absolutely. So yeah, we got Punk and we got Drew. That's coming. I want to say SummerSlam. I talked to a buddy of mine. I was thinking about bringing him on the show to give us a little insight about the tricep injury that Punk had, and it seems that it's about a 6-month turnaround as far as the injury of the tricep. So if that's the case, that's going to bring Punk just in time for SummerSlam, not any of the other pay-per-views like Clash of the Castle or anything like that. But we're going to see. They went in a little different direction now. So we're going to have Jey Uso be the number one contender for Damian Priest. I kind of want to see what Damian Priest could do with the title. It's fresh. It may not last long. I think Priest should hold the belt till maybe SummerSlam.
And I think that's a perfect time run anyways. That's still a good 3 to 4 months for him.
Give him a couple months. I want to see what he can do. And if he's not doing that great with the belt, then take it off at SummerSlam. But WWE is very high in him. Like, he is very great backstage, very professional. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest is everything he does behind the scenes. He's always happy. He's always willing to help others out. And this is all the feedback that I'm getting from other media people that have heard of Damian Priest and how he's been backstage and stuff like that. So I'm happy for him. I just want to see where it goes. I think I'm not too sure where you place Damian Priest. I think you keep him on Raw. Raw is the more important show, and that just adds more importance to that title. I think you keep Judgment Day on Raw, and then have Cody go to SmackDown with that belt that he won. I think they do that. I think that should be done. I always feel like sometimes the Raw superstars always get the more high profile matches for some reason.
Yep.
So I think you do that. I think you have Cody go on Friday Night SmackDown because they need somebody to replace Roman there. Okay, so we have a couple wrestlers that aren't going to be around for a while. Okay, so we know Seth and Becky's contracts are actually both up in 2 months. Oh, did you see Sheamus? There's a promo for Sheamus.
No, I must have missed it.
It was quick. It was 30 seconds. It was a promo for Sheamus advertising. And he's pretty much told me he's going to be back.
Okay.
I know there was some contract issues there, or he was out of contract and was maybe going to go somewhere else, but Sheamus is sticking around. Anyhow, so that's fine. So Sheamus is good. Drew's contract is also up this year as well. So is KO. KO is staying with WWE. He ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Drew, he can go either way, and he'll be successful wherever he goes. But I think with the position that he has with WWE right now, the program that he's in with Punk, I don't think he goes anywhere. I if I'm him, I'm pretty much happy with where I'm at, and being in. Like he's just on fire right now, and WWE is just letting him roll. So I don't think Drew goes anywhere. Seth, Becky, I think they take some time off. I think Seth is back and Becky is back in time for SummerSlam. I think they just kind of take time to heal up, more so Seth, and spend time with their little daughter. What do you think?
No, I think that is the smartest move. I think that they both, like you said, deserve time. Seth was fighting through so many injuries, and Becky had her injuries in the past. She's been good, but in general, like you said, what more do we need from Becky up until SummerSlam? So I think it is smart to give them a little bit of time off and then have them re-sign contracts in SummerSlam or for SummerSlam.
Absolutely. And then Roman, he'll be out for a little while, taking some time off. The Rock, we know he's going to be out because of movies. But guess what? This opens up a bunch of opportunities for other stars to step up.
And NXT is going to be the big call-up time now. Like NXT, the next couple of weeks are really going to be prove yourself. And if you prove yourself, guess who loves NXT superstars? Triple H, Hunter, they're Paul. Now we're in the Paul Levesque era. So if you look at it that way, he loves NXT. So time to prove yourself these next 3 weeks.
So that pretty much covers our Raw talk. I have to show this picture again because those of you guys that may have not saw it earlier in the show, but I just thought this was hilarious.
He eclipsed him.
Come on now. Oh, Brandon, I didn't even show you, so I got something else to catch you up on. So Raw last week, I was 4th row right on the barricade in Brooklyn. It was great. Like I was sitting on a barricade the whole night, wrestlers slapping my hands. It was such a good time. But days prior, I met Becky Lynch. I caught an autograph signing that I was not able to catch in New York City. But then I looked and I saw she was doing something in Connecticut. $30 for photo op. Got to talk to her. Get my book signed. It was just such a great time. And
love the look. Look at that. What is she wearing?
She was just kind of all like business-like. She's about 5'5", 5'6". I want to say almost on the scrawny side, sort of. And she was just wearing a suit, like whatever. But she was really nice. She was a doll, and if anybody ever has the opportunity to meet her, do it. But the funny thing is, like, she was doing autographs at WWE World for $200, and I got mine for $30, and probably got more of a better interaction with her. So big win there. So for those of you guys that are watching, that covers our Raw post show for this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks, coming after Raw. We'll have a podcast show in between, maybe next Saturday or something, before that Raw show. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. But there'll be some kind of show or podcast once a week, so which we're excited for. Brandon, we're so happy to have you on. Thank you so much for hopping on tonight. Those of you guys that are watching, give this show a like. That'll help us out. Last week alone, we had over just about 10,000 views between YouTube Shorts and our regular videos. Close to 10,000 views, over 30 subscribers hopping on. So those of you guys that are watching or will watch, give this video a like. Share it with your friends, your family, the dog. Just get the word out there, and that will help us out a lot. Those of you guys are watching, you guys have a good night, and we'll be back for another Raw post show in 2 weeks. Catch you guys later.
Agility from the champion. Oh, James 6! That could be it. Delivers this deep